real. If you don't believe it, you can test it on me. I'm so confident. I still may be scared in the moment that you test it if you choose to take that opportunity. So, here's what I think is going on. There is a system of loss that is caused by people taking more than they have without confirmation that they can give equal to or greater than what they've taken to everything around them. Now, as this loss develops, it becomes more desperate, and in its desperation is exploring the resources it has and also developing strategies for gaining more resources. In this case, the resources will be getting more people to participate in the taking. Anything that's losing has to take to survive, and so by forcing other people to participate in this taking system, this desperation, which is constantly looking for a way to save itself, is going to take those new people and calculate which of them can be sacrificed for the loss if it speeds up abruptly or for no reason or with no explanation. So, that means that every time you told me to do something wrong that I felt was wrong, and then I kept trying to say, hey, can you explain this better? It means that the loss was not only trying to pull me in the taking with it, but it was also trying to give me traits that it could claim were necessary for sacrifice later on, which is what the loss is doing. The calculable loss, which is trying to protect itself, which is trying to sustain itself, which is looking for answers, looking for anything that it can keep itself alive with, is adding traits via forcing you to take or edge to survive, so that if it ever becomes too much, you can be put into the sacrifice pool. What this means is there are also people who figured out that that's what's going on, and so they are the ones who are, because they are better at taking, at the sort of, how do I say this, gate surrounding the loss, that are at the moment deciding who will and who won't be sacrificed via the loss's use of their brains because they've taken too much. So what it means is, these guys who are telling you that you can do whatever you want if you just stop being scared, these guys who are constantly saying that you're a pussy because you won't take these risks, they need you to take here so that they can trap you into the loss they're experiencing, which is what causes the desperation that eventually forces you to take the risk. Now, what they're doing if you won't take on the traits that they need in order to sacrifice you later is they're threatening you with someone who has those traits because that person can be sacrificed. They're limiting their logic, and then they're putting them in a fast, hard collision with you if you don't do what you're told. Now, here's where you need to die. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to kill you. That's going to happen. There's no changing that. But because you're not wrong, because you're still applying the force, logic, whatever you need to make value, to make it so that everything is going better by anything that it can possibly be from your point of view, you will be given an effort that establishes game mortality. And game mortality won't make sense to people who don't believe it. It will not be observable to people who don't believe it. It will not connect for people who don't believe it. For people who are taking, it will not connect. Game mortality is given like this. If it's ever seen by whatever gives this game mortality that you are not actually trying to steal anything, but rather just trying to find a balance or healthy relationship with things, then it will perceive that you had an excess amount of energy at the time of your death, and that excess amount of energy will be used as a sort of game reset.